Look, guys, you can build it and you can build it strong. That's all you need to know. I know, for some of you, I'm just getting this. It might be that you've had some time off to do with something. And I know I'm skipping around all over the place, but I don't know. Everything's just been, messages are just flying in and just smack me in the face these days so much. And it's the eclipse's energy. I know that. But, we have the Four of Swords and coming up as the past of foundation. You've had a break. Now, for some of you, with the Nine of Swords coming in, I am going to get to this, I promise. But with the Four of Swords here and the Nine of Swords here, it's almost as if some of you might have had time off work, for whatever reason, for health reasons, or you've just taken some time off, or, a relationship, there's been a break in it. And now you're thinking, can I get back to it? Can I get back to this? Is this going to, what am I, because that's stress. You're stressed out right now. Yes, you can. The only thing that's stressing you out are your fears, but I'm getting ahead of myself. It's just because the message is very clear to me in this one. So let's start from the beginning. Queen of Cups coming up as the underlying energy. How do you feel, Virgo? And I know, this is water energy, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, but it's here. It's the underlying energy for the week. So this is your energy. Yes, some of you might be dealing with someone like that, but they'd have to be truly central to your story for them to be coming up here. And I always think, why would you make someone that central to your story that everything's about them? Everything, we must center ourselves and come from our own heart space. Even if, and that's not to say we don't love people and they're not important to us, but we still must pay attention to how we're feeling, right? Even if we're in the most amazing relationship in the world or whatever our partner is going through. So Queen of Cups is coming up and she's saying, coming from a heart space this week, guys, like really, how do you feel? What makes you happy? What do you love? Emotions. It's asking you to look at your emotions. What's your intuition on this? Because I love her energy, right? She always has the most spectacular cup out of all of the court cards. If you have a look at them, she has the most spectacular cup, and usually it's covered, right? And I don't know if hers is covered, but that's because she knows what's in her cup. She knows what she's worth. She knows what her love is worth. She's not just going to hand that cup over to anyone. She's not the Knight of Cups who's like, hey, take it. She's holding on to it. She wants to see what's presented to her first, So, another story that came in. So this is a relationship reading for you. It may be that, you've either had time off dating or there's been a kind of non-communication lull in the relationship that you're in. And yeah, you still have emotions here. You still know how you feel. You're coming from a heart space, but it's the getting back into it. It's like getting back on the bike, as it were. That's the kind of stressing you out. But that's it. This is the heart. This is the head, right? The head is causing problems here. We're in Leo season, guys. I mean, heart all the way. It has to be. Come from a heart space. But she's very intuitive. And the reason I'm saying trust your intuition. Trust how you feel emotionally. Because this is nonsense that, I mean, I don't mean it's nonsense that you're stressed out. I mean, it's not, this gets worse and worse and worse. And, our fears start speaking up. But I'll get to that. I'm just jumping ahead there. So we have the Queen of Cups. The focus is the moon. And it's saying, can you walk this path in faith? Things may not be clear. Things may be confusing. Have a look at the path that's shown here. You can see some of it. You can't see some of it. It's in shadow, right? So we don't know what's in the shadows, but we do, because that little voice of fear in our head tells us. That's what this is about. You wake up at 3 a.m. and that little voice is telling you, yeah, there's something in the shadows, or they're conniving and they're doing this and blah, blah, blah. Like anything, whatever your fears are telling you they're going in the shadows, but you don't actually know. And so the moon, it's a card of illumination, but it's not telling you to look at what's revealed to you. It's telling you to look at what your fears and doubts are. This is a shadow work kind of card. But ultimately, you're not going to know what's in the shadows unless you go over and check them out, right? Or light them up yourself or whatever. So this is about, can you walk that path on faith? And I get it. It feels like it's something that you've taken a break from. Maybe you went off to recharge your batteries. What I say about the Four of Swords, it comes after the Three of Swords. Obviously, it's a 4. But that's the 3 swords in the heart, right? So in the Four of Swords, those 3 swords have been pulled out. Look, they're on the wall here. Of course this bloody guy needs a rest after he's pulled 3 swords out of his heart. So it could be you've gotten over some grief, you've gotten over some issues, some personal stuff, you know, the old stories. This is when you've had therapy, or we've done something. We've done some self-work. We've gotten rid of that. We've got our sword of truth left next to us. So we have this sword of truth. But don't forget, if that's what came before this, what comes after the 4 of swords in the suit of swords, the 5 of swords. That's when you get ruthless and you go in and fight. You know, people always think, how is he so ruthless? Why is he willing to do whatever it takes to get what he wants? Because he knows he's done so much work on himself. He's not afraid to get hurt. He's removed 3 swords. Sorry, getting into a bit of a tarot lesson there. But, you know, this indicates as the pastor foundation, coming out. I feel like you're coming out of some rest period. You or someone that you're dealing with. You know, this is where we put our weapons down. There's no more fighting. Maybe it's time to fight again. I actually don't see fighting coming up. I see a lot of stress in the present. 9 of Swords. But guys, shift. I mean, this is, like I said, these are fears and doubts that come up. And fear at the end of the day, and I've been saying this a lot recently because there's a lot of afraid people that I've been dealing with. Really fearful. Afraid of what's going to come. Afraid of making the wrong decision. Afraid of a lot of things. And sometimes the nature of readings, you know, the questions that people ask in a tarot reading, it's so much about fear. You know, they come to it for fear. They're looking for guarantees. There are no guarantees. It means is that you have to walk it on faith. So we can look at why you're afraid. And fear is just, I always think of it as that overbearing parent, right? Fear just comes in, it tries to keep you safe. You know, like a mother who would be afraid that her kid's going to get hurt if it goes outside. So she's like, just stay indoors. It's okay. We'll get you all the toys. We'll make your room nice. We'll do whatever. But you don't need to go outside. There's monsters outside. There's this outside, you know, frightening the kid. But ultimately, she's doing it to keep the kid safe. But that's not going to help the kid grow. And the kid actually isn't even in that kind of danger that she perceives, right? It's her fears that are saying that. And that's what our fear response is. It's there to keep us safe. I mean, our ancestors would never have survived, you know, when they lived out in the wild. When they heard rustling, you know, in the grass, they ran. That was their fear keeping them safe. But our fear response, it's out of control these days. That's what it is. And so we kind of drive ourselves nuts. With the Queen of Cups here, this is like, yes, get out of your head. How are you feeling? What are your emotions telling you? What's your intuition telling you? What's your gut feeling in this? Not that voice of fear. Your intuition is totally different. Your intuition never makes you feel like shit. It might not give you a message that you want to hear, but it will always soothe you because you think, yeah, that's right. The kind of solution to this, I always say the solution to the 9 of Swords is to speak it. Say it out loud. Go and say it to someone. A therapist, a friend, you know, a partner, someone. Write it out in your journal. But oftentimes just seeing it in black and white or, you know, saying the words, you think, hang on a second, that's not true. Why am I even thinking that? Let your heart heal. She's a healer. You know, that's healing energy that comes from the Queen of Cups. Now, where does this lead? We have the Ace of Wands. Hell yeah, you can start again. Ace of Wands, it's passion, you know, creativity. It's the energy that we put out into the world. It's an opportunity to start something, start something that's really exciting. And maybe that's what's kind of, because of this, whatever this lull was, maybe you haven't, well, like I said, I haven't worked for a while, haven't talked to someone for a while. These are 2 cards of non-communication for me when these come up. And nothing really changes when the 4 of Swords comes up. But this is, I'm going forward, I'm going to have a second chance at something, or I'm going to burn this up, or I'm going to do it. And you're excited about it. You're excited about it. That'll get you through. And look at the wand, you know, that's fire energy. You can light up the shadows. By doing, by expressing. This is expressive energy. Where does that lead? Or what is the advice, rather? We have the King of Pentacles. And that's earth energy. So you may have another earth sign around you. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. But I also think this could be someone, they don't have to be the same sign as you. Or, you know, same earth energy as you. But someone that you kind of really connect with. This could be an advisor, especially a financial advisor. He's like the accountant or the tax advisor or someone. But I kind of feel like it's you stepping back into your power. Because look at what's above it, the 4 of Swords. Virgo, you haven't been Virgo for a while. That's what's kind of coming up here. But, I mean, technically that is Taurus energy, right? But it's earth energy. And it's the king of that. It's you step back into the power that you have. You bring, I mean, think about it. Passions, creativity. There's something, it's not really tangible, right? It's ethereal. It's the way you express it, but you bring this grounded energy to it. Reliability, durability, hardworking energy. This guy he's a self-made man. You know, he can have whatever he wants. He's very good at that abundance. He's very business savvy. Trust yourself. That's what I feel like is coming up here. Trust yourself. Trust your heart. And you guys are like that, guys. You know, you help so many people. And the same way, you know, if say I came to you and I said, Virgo, I've got this problem and stuff. From a heart space, you'd be able to analyze it. First of all, you'd think, oh no, Jay needs help. Let me help her. And then you'd fix my problem for me. Bring that same energy to yourself. Step into your power, right? Because this is exciting. This is beautiful energy that's coming in for you. But nothing moves or shifts when we're stuck here. And this says things are not as bad as they seem. They feel worse because we keep going over and over and over them. Get to know each other. Learning to meet another's need for love is important for a relationship to grow. So, I mean, I'm getting that. If you haven't dated for a while, if you've not been interacting with other people and, you know, you've got feelings that you don't know, that's what's stressing you. I don't know how to connect with this person. You know, there might have been a time apart with the Four of Swords. Simple conversations, guys. Getting to know what the other person, what do they want? We don't have to guess. The Nine of Swords sometimes can be trying to figure out what someone else is doing. We can't know that. I talked about that in last week's outro. I can never know what someone else is thinking because I don't know what experiences they're coming from. They have their own filter, right? Two people can experience the same thing and come out of it seeing or feeling different things altogether. So we get to know people. We get to know people. And I like this kind of water. And it might be a water sign that you're dealing with or another earth sign. But, you know, we've got Pisces here. There is this kind of thing, especially with this, is just get to know, ask the questions, bring your excitement to it. You know, this is something that's just beginning. You can build something here. And even if it's a business, you know, I mean, it's whispers of love, but we can love our work. We can love our careers. We can love our families. This is that spark of excitement, enthusiasm, and solid, grounded energy that you're bringing into it. You didn't lose your Virgo-ness just because you took a break or because of this happened, whatever this was. No place like home. And you know what? It's kind of strange, but it was not strange at all. But this says that too. This says that too. That if you're worried about not feeling safe or, you know, what's going to happen to me, because that's what home is, right? It's where we can be ourselves, where we're safe, where we're comforted. It's our sanctuary. But it says you always have a home. You have a home in yourself. And that's the advice, King of Pentacles. That's you guys. But how do you feel safe? By always authentically being yourself. Expressing from a heart space. You don't have to worry about what shadows are waiting ahead or, you know, what other people are thinking or saying. Express from what your creativity or your passion is. That's all you can do. That's all any of us can do. That's all I do week after week when I sit here. I just express whatever message I have. If I ever stopped to think about, you know, what someone was going to say, how that message, you know, I wouldn't be able to do this. So you come from a place of pure expression. If you stand in your authenticity and you know what you stand by what you're saying, what you're doing, it's very liberating. It's the only freedom that truly counts. And that's what this says as well. Right, let's get you a postcard from the Spirit. Dearest you, there are times when loss is a part of life. Sometimes a loss is welcome, like when you leave a situation not in alignment with your highest good. Sometimes a loss is sudden and painful, like when a loved one crosses over to our dimension. Regardless of the nature of the loss and your control over it, your experience is asking to be acknowledged. Tears are necessary, as is grief. When you repress the natural expression of loss and try to move on too quickly, the unprocessed pain haunts you in destructive ways. We don't want that for you. Instead, let your heart break open wide. Feel the loss and integrate it. See the beauty that was, the lessons learned, and know that as you let go of what has passed, ever more of you remains. It gets better, we promise. Your heart expands with more compassion for the world than ever before. Love heals all. We are loving you, sending you love always and forever. And you know, that might be because the Three of Swords that I was talking about here, that is loss. That is grief. That's pain, right? And this is last week, last month, last year. We don't know when that is for. She is the healer, though. That is healing energy coming from a heart space. And you know what? I get it. If you've gone through something, you've gone through the healing of it, whether that's physical, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a person, whatever it is that you've gone through, right? Whatever loss you've been through, it can be, especially, I mean, first of all, you're brave and you're strong for even considering getting back on that horse or bike, as I said at the beginning, like whatever it is that you're trying to do again, like give yourself a pat on the back for that. Of course there are going to be fears. Acknowledge that. There's nothing wrong with feeling fears. You know, like I told you, they keep you safe. That's what we're designed to have fears for. But it's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. And that's you, the King of Pentacles. I mean, he's the most reliable guy. I always say, if I was going to do something, I'd want the King or Queen of Pentacles at my back. Because they get stuff done. And you have this. You have it in you. And it's about... I think for a lot of you, it's this kind of awakening or budding, kind of the fire or the passions coming back in you. And it hasn't been an easy road. I mean, look at it. It hasn't been an easy road. But you've got this opportunity coming in, stepping into your power and coming from a heart space.